Hello. 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 Shall we start?
Yes, sir, we can start.
Sir is here. Sir is here, sir.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to each and every one of you. We have here with us the Honorable Vice Chairman.
Sir, there's no connectivity.
Rajendra sir, your voice is not.
One such team is
Sir is not audible. Okay. So shall we start? Hello. Rajendra sir, you are not audible. Good evening to all. Myself, CA Umesh Sharma, Vice Chairman of Indirect Tax Committee of ICI. Our Chairman Rajendra Kumar sir is traveling and he is not audible. So I request Smita ma'am to take the proceeding further. Smita ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Unmute. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir was just telling that about the network only. I got a call from him. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of GST and Indirect Taxes Committee, I welcome all of you to this VCM organized by the committee. On the VCM, today's topic of the VCM is Maharashtra VAT Amnesty Scheme 2022. And today's VCM is going to be addressed by none other than our Vice Chairman. So if I tell you that he's an indirect tax expert, that is nobody's guess. Anybody can guess that. So I'll just give a brief introduction about our Vice Chairman. Our Vice Chairman is a Aurangabad-based practicing chartered accountant. Sir has got an excellent academic record. He stood 42nd. He got 42nd rank in All India CA Foundation exams, 1996. He also holds a diploma in Information Systems Audit. He was elected Regional Council member of WIRC in 2016-19. He also has the recognition of being the youngest chairman of Aurangabad branch of WIRC in 2002. He has authored popular tax article series based on Krishna and Arjuna conversation, that is Karniti, which is published in Lokmat newspaper on every Monday. He is also a lecturer on the subject of GST for Diploma in Taxation course of MP Law College, Aurangabad, and Maharashtra National Law University, Aurangabad. He is also the chief editor and main compiler of Maharashtra VAT Audit Manual, which is published by Tax Practitioners Association, Aurangabad. He is also a contributor for revised and updated edition of a guide to Maharashtra VAT Audit and background material on GST published by WIRC. He's also authored another book on introduction of GST in Marathi language, which was released by none other than the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. So without taking any further time, I pass on the proceedings to our Vice Chairman, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Smita ma'am, our most efficient and most knowledgeable secretary of IDT committee. Thanks to the team which is working behind the screen, Impreet and Parth. and my chairman Rajendra Kumar sir, who is there in Haridwar to meet the commissioner of SGST in coming 2 to 3 days, because there is a training program to be planned for that Uttarakhand state officers. So with this brief introduction of mine, now I start the introduction of the topic. Friends, good evening to all of you. Just relax and we will have a discussion in a very lucid manner, and then you can have your questions so we can answer each and every question. There is a box provided, a space provided to you to write down the questions. You can write down your questions and then we will address that questions. So I am sharing my screen. Please let me know whether the screen is visible. Now it is okay?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Okay. So I am putting it on the...
Yeah, put it in slideshow.
Yeah. So let's discuss the today's topic. The today's topic for the day is the Maharashtra settlement of arrears of tax, interest, penalty, late fees Act 2022. So friends, there are 4 aspects. One is tax, the another is interest, then is the penalty and the late fees. So 4 types of dues which can be settled through this act. And the word is the settlement. This is very important. So whatever disputes are there related to the VAT, related to central sales tax or profession tax, they can be settled. And it is related to Maharashtra state only. So it is applicable in the state of Maharashtra only. So let's discuss. There is a bill already which has been passed. This act has already came into force. 30th September is the last date for application. Further 14 days are also provided till 14th of October. We will see all the details. So before going through each detail, let's go step by step for the today's agenda. So what is our today's agenda? Today's agenda is to know the important definitions, to know the importance, the effect, and the whatever important aspects are of any act. We must read the definitions. Many questions are resolved when we go through the definitions. Then we will have eligibility criteria, that who can apply for this scheme of settlement, what are the conditions, what are the amount, what are the issues in waiver which needs to be taken care of. Then how to make a payment, what are the options to make the payment through settlement scheme. Then conditions for settlement. If there is an appeal, we have to withdraw appeals. Further conditions are also there. We will look into it. Then review of the orders. Whatever orders are passed under this act, when they will be reviewed, what is their sanctity, we will look into it. Then forms already there, they are available on the websites, so we can review through the forms. Practically we can go through the forms, that which forms are applicable to which particular taxpayer. Then few instructions are issued by the commissioner to the officers, that what they should do to make successful or to resolve the issues while in the applications. And then there are certain circulars which we will also review. So let's start with our first subtopic, is the definitions. Definitions, we can have some important definitions only. So first is the applicant, who can apply for the scheme. The scheme is applicable to the applicant, means a person. So there is no need of registration. Any person can go and apply for the scheme. Further, who is liable to pay arrears. So there must be some arrears. There must be some dues of tax, interest, penalty, and late fees, levied or leviable under relevant act. So total 11 acts are there. to whom this scheme is applicable. Now we come down to the another type of applicant. First is any person. So in normal sense, any taxpayer, any assessee can go for the scheme. But here another type of applicant is also added, or any other person including financial institutions. So dear friends, what is the importance of this addition? Say there is a factory unit which is gone into losses. There are the dues of VAT and it is in lock and key. There is a loan. The bank has hypothecated that particular factory. Number of years have gone. The dues are there. Now the applicant is not able to pay the dues, so the factory is not a saleable product. So what the bank can do, the bank can also apply for the settlement of the dues of Maharashtra VAT and other dues and avail the benefit by complying it. So further, the bank can sell that property in the market and the property can fetch a good value because the dues of tax authorities are settled. So in this scheme, this is very much beneficial for the bankers also. Cooperative banks are there, nationalized banks are there, private banks are there. So whatever property they have acquired through hypothecation, they can put it in market by applying the scheme. We can come in further slides. There is a installment option also available. So bank can use that option if the dues are above 50 lakhs. So this is a planning part which I am discussing with you all. Now we come down to next definition. That is the arrears. Arrears means the amount outstanding of tax, interest, penalty, late fees, as the case may be. First, it should be as per the statutory order. So there must be an order which has been passed, say from the Maharashtra VAT authorities. There is an order for year 14, 15, 15, 16. So the dues are there. That order may be challenged by the assessee. It may be in appeal, but that order will be the base. So statutory order copy is the prime requirement for the settlement. So that document should be there with the assessee. Next, the dues which are admitted in the return or as the case may be revised return under the relevant act and which has not been paid either wholly or partly. Friends, now in GST, the return cannot go if there is a amount payable. But earlier in the VAT, in the CST era, the returns can be filed by the taxpayer with the payable dues. So that type of outstanding amount is also covered if it is admitted in the return. So return has been filed, but the dues are not paid. That is also covered under the scheme. Third, the VAT auditor has recommended, he has submitted the report under section 61 of MVAT audit, and the recommendation made by the auditor has not been paid. So that is also termed as arrear. So three types of arrears are there. First, as per statutory order, second, as per returns, and third, as per VAT audit report. So these three type of amount should be there for calculations at our hands. Then we come down to the relevant acts to whom the scheme is applicable. Total 11 acts are there. The outstanding dues arrears as on 31st of March 2022 can be gone through this scheme. So first is the CST, that is the Central Sales Tax Act 1956. If there are dues of CST, many assessees have not issued the forms, C form, F form, H form, so they can also go and close their cases. Then Bombay Sales of Motor Spirit Act, then Bombay Sales Tax Act 1959, the act which was earlier the VAT Act, Maharashtra Value Added Tax ke pehle. Earlier, there was a Bombay Sales Tax Act. That dues can also be settled down. Then Maharashtra Purchase Tax on Sugarcane Act. Then Maharashtra Tax on Professional Trading, Professions, Trades, Ceilings and Employment, popularly called as a profession tax. Then sales tax on the transfer of right to use any goods. Then entry tax on motor vehicle, luxury tax, hotels, then sales tax on transfer of property, works contract tax, then the entry of the goods tax, and then comes the last, most famous, Maharashtra Value Added Tax Act 2022. So these 11 acts are there to whom this scheme is applicable. We have to apply for settlement. Then we have to use the different form. If a assessee is having dues under CST also and as well as VAT, he can use a different application form. For profession tax, he can use one form also for one financial year. The facility is given. We will go through that. Now come the third important definition, that is the requisite amount. Requisite amounts mean the amount which is payable under the settlement. After the calculations are done, then what amount will be payable? So it's an aggregate amount of undisputed tax. The disputed tax, interest and penalty determined under section 8 and 9 of the Maharashtra Settlement Act 2022. So we have to refer section 8 and 9 and calculate the requisite amount as per the table given in Annexure A and Annexure B. So there are certain percentage of waivers for the tax, interest and penalty. We have to calculate them. That amount will be the requisite amounts under the act which needs to be paid for the settlement. The challan needs to be attached with the form, and then the order will come for the settlement. So requisite amount is a very important definition. Then comes the return dues. This definition is very important because the return filed after 1st April 22 will not be eligible. Whatever dues are there up to 31st March 22 are only the return dues. So whatever returns filed before 31st of March 22 will be covered under the return, because it's on or before April 2022. So that is very important, that it is unpaid and the returns are filed before 1st April 2022. Now we come down to another important definition, that is undisputed tax. Friends, this is very important definition, because if we look into the scheme, we have to pay the undisputed tax 100%, subject to the conditions, other conditions. So what is mean by undisputed tax? First, the tax is collected separately under the relevant act. In Maharashtra Value Added Tax, invoices were issued, the party has collected the tax and not paid to the government, then it is an undisputed tax. Generally, indirect tax like VAT, they are always collected from the customer. So many people must have collected the tax, so it will go and fall under undisputed tax. But if there is an extra liability, or say there is a input taken by a party and that input is not allowed because the another party who is the supplier has gone away, or he is in dispute, he has not filed correctly the J1, J2 annexures. So the ITC input is in dispute. So that can be the amount which will go into the disputed tax. So on the sales sides, if it is a collected to invoice, then it will go into undisputed tax. Then the amount which is shown as payable then in return, because it is an accepted amount by the taxpayer, it will go into undisputed tax. Then amount claim as a deduction under Rule 57, that will also be go under undisputed, because it is the case of the works contractor. Then any amount which is forfeited or excess collection, then tax determined by the auditor in 704 is also undisputed tax. TDS, which is collected, which is deducted and deducted by the employer, TCS, and further the profession tax, which is collected from the employees and not paid, they will also be treated as an undisputed tax, and that need to be paid in full. So this is a very important definition of undisputed tax. So undisputed tax need to be paid in full. There is no waiver available subject to the statutory dues are below 10 lakhs. We will see that example. But here most important is that undisputed tax needs to be paid in full. Further, disputed tax is the definition, which means other than undisputed tax. So that is very important. Whatever there is undisputed, and if that amount is not covered in undisputed, it will be covered in disputed. Now we come down to eligibility criteria. We have gone through the important definitions. Now we are on the eligibility. Who are eligible for the scheme? First, the eligibility for settlement starts whether the person is registered or not registered. So both can go and apply for the scheme. The application for settlement can be for tax, interest, penalty, late fees, which are in arrears, whether they are disputed or not. Further, the applicant who has availed the benefits in earlier scheme, in 2016, 2019 scheme, they are also eligible for the settlement scheme 2022. Then next, the cases which are in litigation by the department or by the assessee taxpayer, they are also eligible for settlements. Say for the appeal is filed against some order, the appeal is yet not been decided, that case is also eligible for this settlement. But the condition is that there will be no refund. Whatever pre-deposit amount is paid before filing of appeal, there will be no refund. That amount will be adjusted, and the balance amount will be eligible for the settlement. So that is very important here, that the amount which has been already paid while filing the appeal, that pre-deposit will not be refunded. That amount will be adjusted against the taxes which are disputed or undisputed, and the balance amount will be eligible for the scheme. That needs to be taken care of. Further, whatever amount is paid, means any amount which is paid against the statutory order in appeal, say 10%, 20% part payment is made before 31st of March, that will be first adjusted toward the undisputed tax, and the balance will be eligible for the settlement. If undisputed tax is fully exhausted, then it can be adjusted against disputed tax. Then further it will be adjusted against interest if it remains, then penalty, then late fees. Even if the order is passed after 1st April 22 to 30th September 22. This is very important and also a planning part. Friends, if there is an appeal file or there is some issues going on, the assessments are not over, but the many cases it will be the appeal pending. If the appeal is pending, then from 1st April 22 onward to 30th September, that appeal can be decided. and whatever dues are coming from that, that statutory order can be go for the settlements. So even for the current period statutory orders also, they can be eligible for the settlement. So what is the takeaway? Takeaway is that if there is a order pending, get that order from the assessing officer and then go for the settlement. So this is a very good chance given to the existing assessees whose orders are not received. They are also eligible if the order come before 30th September. Now, for example, if we look into it that there is a appeal file, the amount is already paid, what will be the case? I have taken an example of section 6, financial year 16-17. The undisputed amount is of 50,000, disputed amount is of 2 lakhs, and it is in appeal. Already 1 lakh rupees is paid. So what will happen? 2,50,000 minus 1 lakh. So 1,50,000 will be eligible for the scheme. Further, if I received an order, say of 17-18 till June, say 75,000. After 1st April 22 to 31st of September 22, again that 75,000 can be eligible for the settlement. So this is very important. Whatever prepayments are made, they will be adjusted toward the outstanding dues first, and the balance will be eligible for the scheme. Now let's see what is the quantum of waiver in the scheme, which is the most important subtopic of this today's discussion. कि कितना फायदा होगा ये स्कीम में जाने के बाद. So let's discuss it one by one. First, there will be a write-off of certain amounts. What is that? If there is a statutory order and the due is below 10,000 in a financial year, then it shall be written off. So very important. If there is a client whose order is received, say payable for 8,000 rupees, and it is pertaining to pre-GST era, if it is related to VAT or CST, then by deeming fiction, it will be written off. There will be no order received to you. There will be no requirement to go and file a settlement application. It will be deemed that it is a written off by this act. So this is a very important point, that if there are dues below 10,000 rupees, they are deemed to be written off. So no need to go for settlement for or make an application for writing it off. It will be by deeming fiction written off. Then second, the post-assessment interest on such written off dues shall be stand waived. So interest is also waived. So this is very important for the petty taxpayers. Now we come down to the table of tax payment and waiver. I have simplified this table. I will take the example from 1st April to 30th June 2017 cases. If the cases are before 2005, then these two tables are applicable. But I am just for our study purpose, I am taking this from 1st April to 30th of June 2017. There are two options. One is one-time payment scheme and the another is the installment scheme. The installments are applicable for 50 lakh rupees and more amount, which comes as an eligible amount for the scheme. So let's discuss one by one. What is the quantum of waiver? Undisputed tax, 100% we have to pay. Waiver is there nil. But here you have to see the below 7th point. I will deal that in later stage. subject to the dues are below 10 lakhs as per statutory order, then it will be covered under the 20% formula. But for simplified way, but for our simplicity, just keep in mind that undisputed dues 100% we have to pay, subject to statutory order below 10 lakh rupees. If we go for installment, say my dues are of 25 lakh, then I am not eligible for this option. So my example for simple learning purpose is, my dues are of 25 lakhs, then undisputed tax I have to pay 100%. In installment, it is not applicable. It is applicable for 50 lakhs and above. Then second amount is disputed dues. Disputed dues 50% we have to pay, and the waiver is of 50%. I have not accepted that dues. It is not in my 704. It is not in my returns. The officer has made the assessment and issued the statutory order, and I have challenged that in appeal. So these are all disputed dues. I can pay 50% and 50% is waiver. If the dues are of 50 lakhs and above, 50 लाख के ऊपर का अगर कोई party hai, so he can go for settlement, but here he has to pay 56%. So 6% more amount he has to pay. Then interest payable, 15% is need to be paid, and the waiver amount is of 85%. This is a very big waiver given, one of the best schemes. Then there is a penalty, only 5% needs to be paid, 95% is the waiver amount. Very big relief given in the penalty. So if there are orders only of penalty, the person can immediately go and pay 5% and get rid of the order of penalty. Interest and penalties dues are there, then post assessment is that 100% waiver. Late fees, the returns are not filed in time, then late fees only 5% is to be paid and 95% is waiver. Now there is one more option given here, and this needs to be seriously studied. If my arrears are of below 10 lakh, for the undisputed, disputed, tax, interest, penalty, if my total amount of disputed, undisputed, interest, penalty, late fees is below 10 lakh, I can go for lump sum scheme. What is this lump sum scheme? Just pay 20% and you save up to 80%. So 80% is waiver. And in this case, the statutory order is issued, and in that statutory order, undisputed dues are also coming, then they are also eligible for the 10 lakh rupees. So most important part is the statutory order is there, and if that is below 10 lakhs, we can straight away pay 20% and go for the settlements. For simplicity, I am taking again an example. My disputed liability of 2,50,000 is there on 1st April 2017. So if I go for the table, then I have to pay 50% of disputed, interest 15%, and penalty 5%. If the disputed liability is 2,50,000, interest also comes 2,25,000 up to March 22, and 100% penalty was charged, so it's come to 2,50,000. So total dues are of 7,25,000 for our example. In this scenario, 1,25,000 I have to pay, Then interest 33,750 I have to pay, 12,500 penalty. So total amount is coming to 1,71,250. But my total dues are below 10 lakhs. So I have another option of paying lump sum 20%. So I will choose that option. Then what happens? My dues comes to 1,45,000 instead of 1,71,250. So I will be definitely going for the 20% formula of lump sum payment below 10 lakhs dues cases. So please remember, if there is a case where the dues are below 10 lakh, you can go for the 20% scheme. This is a very good benefit given for the small taxpayers. Now, what are the methods of payments? Let's see. The eligible amount, the requisite amount needs to be paid in total. There is a one-time payment option and there is an installment option for 50 lakhs and above. So for one-time payment, the challan needs to be attached with the form. MTR 6 form is there. No application will be rejected on the ground if the payment is made less. Means the proportionate benefit will be given to the taxpayer. If the eligible amount is say 7 lakhs and if the RCC is only able to pay 5 lakhs rupees, so that application will not be rejected, but the benefit of that 5 lakhs will be given to him and rest 2 lakhs needs to be recovered from him. It will be out of the settlement. So settlement will not be applicable. The settlement will be applicable on proportionate basis if the less payment is made. This is very important point to be noted. And if the person wants to go and pay, the payment made on account on before 31st March 22 shall not be considered for requisite payments. We have already seen, if I have made a pre-deposit for appeal, they will not be eligible for the scheme. They will reduce the outstanding liability, but the scheme will be applicable for the payments which are eligible as per the Settlement Act from 1st April 22. And if the less amount is paid, then proportionately the scheme will be applicable. Further, if 50 lakhs and above dues are there, this is for the large defaulters like financial institutions. If the big factories or big defaulters are there, the crores of monies is in dispute, so they can go for this option. What is this option? They can pay one time, and if 50 lakhs and above amount is there, then they can go for the installment. When they go for installment, at the time of submission of application under section 12, from 1st April to 14th of October 22. So the scheme is ending on 30th September, but they have given 14 days extra to make the payment. The payment can be made. The 25% payment need to be made for the installment scheme along with the application, and thereafter equal installments of 25, 25, 25 means 3 installments are available. They need to be paid at the end of the quarter in 9 months. In short, 12 months are available for the large defaulters if the amount is above 50 lakhs. And if it's below 50 lakhs, then one-time payments need to be made, and that needs to be made before 30th of September along with the application. Application के साथ में चलन हमको जोड़ना है. That is very important point, needs to be taken care of. Further, what are the conditions for settlements? We will see. Here, if the appeal is there and we want to go for settlement, then we have to withdraw from the tribunal, from the appellate authority, from the courts, fully and unconditionally. This is very important. You cannot partly withdraw the appeal. You have to fully withdraw the appeal. All the contentions which are there in the case needs to be settled down. The complete order needs to be withdrawn, means appeal needs to be withdrawn. And that withdrawal application needs to be attached with the settlement form. This is a prerequisite and very important condition. If there is a set off under VAT which was adjusted against CST and there is an appeal under CST, then the same needs to be withdrawn if we want to go for the settlement. So both VAT and CST inter-effective transactions are there of set off, then the appeal of that another enactment needs to be withdrawn. Further, now we go for the applications. Separate application for the settlement can be filed for each class of arrears. We can go and file separate application for each class. Now, which class? First, statutory order, admitted returns, and then determine in audit. My dues are related to statutory order. Then I will have to file a separate form. For example, for 16-17, my dues are as per statutory order. I can go and file a separate application for that financial year. Say for earlier period, for 15-16, I have admitted that into the return that amount is payable. So I can go for the separate application for that financial year. And for each 11 enactments separately. Further, if there is a delay in payment of the installments or requisite amount, then up to 30 days, the delay can be condoned. But after that, interest will be charged. So one has to keep in mind that the installments needs to be paid within time. If they are not paid in within time, then interest will also be charged. Further, the applicant, if desired to settle the return dues in respect of more than one return or revised return pertaining to a financial year, he may make a single application. Say there are 3 months issues. So for each month, he can make a separate application, but in total for that financial year, he can also make a one application. So that option is available. Now we come down to the next subtopic, that is the order of settlement. We have determined the amount of waiver, we have filed the application, we have paid the amount, then there will be an order issued for the settlement. That will be passed within 3 months from the date of one-time payment option, or in the case of the installment scheme, after the last installment is paid. So within 3 months from the date of application, along with the payment, the order of settlement will be passed. This order of settlement is also appealable. If you don't agree with the settlement order, then it can go for appeal. If the subordinate authority has passed, then deputy commissioner is the person to whom we have to appeal. In case of deputy commissioner, it's a joint commissioner. If the order is of joint commissioner, it can go for the additional commissioner. Now further, review of order. I have received the settlement order. Whether it can be reviewed? Yes. It may be reviewed by the commissioner on his own motion within 12 months from the date of order. So there are certain conditions. that the orders can be reviewed if they are fraudulent, if they are incomplete, if they are not in line with the Settlement Act. But there is a bar on reopening of settlement cases. The cases cannot be opened on the whims of the officers. The settlement cases can be opened only by the observations of the CAG audit. If there is a conclusive evidence, then CAG, when it does the audit of the department, they can open that settlement cases. Otherwise, no one can reopen the settlement orders in future. Further, if there is an incorrect or false information given in the settlement or application, the authority can revoke the order within 2 years from the end of the financial year when the order was passed. So revocation is possible, but the reason must be incorrect or false informations which is found in search seizure by the designated authority. Then we come down to the forms. Which are the forms prescribed under the Settlement Act? The form prescribed for the Settlement Act are given on the website. They needs to be electronically filled up. mahagst.gov.in is the website where one can go and fill up the form. Now let's go through the types of form. Form 1 is there. This form is applicable for the settlement of arrears as per the statutory order. Here, the statutory order is there with the taxpayer, then he can go and file form 1. If the dues or the settlement of arrears is recommended by the auditor or it is as per the return, then it's form 1A. So separate form are there where the information needs to be given in form 1 of the statutory order. If it is as per the returns or audit report 704, then it's form 1A. Form 2 is the application for withdrawal of appeal. If the person is in appeal, he has to withdraw the appeal. So that form 2 is there. Form 3 is order of settlement oblique rejection, which will be the order under this act that your dues are settled, your order is complete, all payments you have made it. So the order of settlement will be issued in form 3. Then form 4 is the notice for rectification. If there is any issue in the application, the rectification form 4 is there. Then application for rectification is also there. Notice for rectification, application for rectification, form 5. Form 6 is notice for review. Form 7 is for furnishing of details of payments. So like this way, the forms are already there and one can go and review the forms which are available online. Due to the sake of time, I am not going into the details of the forms. Now, there are further instructions issued by the commissioner to the officer. What are these instructions? These instructions are issued on 30th of March 2022 by the commissioner to the officers. What are the instructions? The instructions are like this, that the verification needs to be carried out of the applications. While verifying, the commissioner has order, he instructs that the officer, the designated authority, shall verify the correctness and completeness of the application along with the document submitted with his record. He shall confirm that the application is accompanied with the documents. On verification, if it is noticed that it is incorrect or incomplete, if there is a deficiency, then the defects needs to be shown. A defect notice should be issued to the applicant. The applicant shall be provided a time to correct the defect and make the payment. If there is a short payment, as per the table in section 10 subsection 2, within 15 days of the receipt of notice, the person should clear the defects, and on compliance of the defect and the requisite amount, if it's a short paid and the completeness is verified, then completely satisfied with the correctness and completeness, the original application shall be accepted and the order needs to be passed for the settlement. So this is very important instruction given by the Commissioner of State, Maharashtra State, Rajiv Mittalji. If there is any issue, then a special cell is also open in the Mazgaon office of Bombay. You can directly write to the commissioner if you have any issues related to the settlement of the scheme. He is a very good commissioner, very progressive, very active commissioner, and he welcomes to resolve the issues of the taxpayers. Now, one more trade circular is issued. This will be of also very important for the taxpayers. The trade circular is issued on the 20th April 2022. One can refer this trade circular. It is pertaining to the details of the settlement scheme. All the discussions what we had are being referred in this trade circular already, so I am not repeating all the aspect. The scope of the settlement is mentioned here, all the 11 enactments which we have already gone through. What are the areas, amounts which are eligible for settlement? We have already discussed it as per statutory order, returns and audit. Examples are also given in these trade circulars. What are the areas as per the statutory orders, as per the 704 or the returns. The intention of this settlement act is to aim to settling the areas of the statutory orders, and if any unpaid amount is there as per the returns or as per the 704. So all these three scenarios are discussed here with. Then how to calculate the interest, the details in Annexure A and Annexure B with examples are given in this circular. You can refer this circular and you can find out the examples also which are given here with how to calculate the undisputed amount, disputed amount and the interest. Further, cases under litigation, how to go for settlement, that is also been discussed here with. Then person eligible for settlement of dues under the relevant tax, they have to apply separately, say for all the alcoholic liquor, motor spirit, then works contract, then profession tax, then luxury tax. All these can be settled here. Then right of dues of 10,000 and below, which we have already discussed. Then the dealer is not required to make application for a waiver of this amount. It is mentioned in the circular. If this is below 10,000 rupees, it will be deemed to be settled down. Then the outstanding arrears amounts are eligible for settlements. What is undisputed, what is disputed, how much percentage, already that table we have seen it. It has been more detailedly explained in this circular. The table, whichever is there in front of your screen, we have already discussed in our PPT in a very simple form. So there is a two tables given, Annexure A and Annexure B. One can refer that. Then come down to the next, the determination of amount in case of Entry Tax Act. separate enactments are there, separate information is given in the trade circular. Then the duration of submission of application, that application need to be submitted before 14th of October, 30th of September, before the order should be received. So more 14 days are given. If one time payment is there, then that needs to be done before 30th of September. The 10 lakh rupees and below, they can go for lump sum 20% payment. They needs to go before 30th of September. That is a very important condition which is mentioned here with. Further, if installments are there for 50 lakhs and above, then they have to make a payment on quarterly basis. That is already been covered. So this is the forms and all the issues which are being mentioned here. Examples are also given, so you can refer this circular in detail and you can use it for your calculations. This is a very good circular with a detailed explanation, example wise. I am not going in detail of each and every aspect, but this is a very beneficial circular. So at the end of our discussion, let's summarize what we have discussed, and then we will go for our question and answer. First, important definition. Please remember the definition of undisputed tax and disputed tax. In case of a statutory order below 10 lakhs, you can go for lump sum scheme of 20%. Even there is an undisputed tax involved in that, but it should be mentioned in the statutory order. Otherwise, if there is a only written file, no statutory order is there, and the dues are there which are undisputed, then we have to pay 100%, because they are also collected from the parties and it's undisputed. So please check this point doubly and then go for it. Further, in the definition, financial institutions are already mentioned, so one can use and take the benefit. If the banks have the properties or the units which are in default, you can ask the banker to go for the settlement scheme. He can also apply. Further, the second aspect was the eligibility. We have seen that below 10,000 rupees, it's waiver. From 10,000 to 10 lakh, you have a 20% scheme, but that should applicable for statutory order. It is not applicable for returns and 704 dues. If the person is having dues as per return only, and if the person is having dues as per 704, then that 10 lakh and 20% criteria is not eligible. Even if you are unregistered, you can go for the settlement. There is a separate window given where you can go and apply for the settlement. Even if you are not registered person, a temporary window is open there and you can go and pay the amount. That can be done in the case of profession tax and other things. Then waiver table, we have seen that for undisputed, we have to pay 50%. For interest, it's a 15%. For penalty, it's a 5%. So it's a very good scheme, and I can say that it is the one of the best scheme of settlements in Maharashtra state. Then further options of payments is there. Below 50 lakhs, one time payment need to be made, and that needs to be made along with the application of settlement. If 50 lakhs and below is there, then you can go for the quarterly installment scheme, which we have already discussed. Further, the condition of settlement is the one of withdrawal of appeal. So whatever appeal has been done, that appeal needs to be withdrawn in full and unconditionally. So please remember that. Then further, the orders can be reviewed by the commissioner. or it can be reopened on the objection taken by CAG. But the condition for reopening is case of the fraud or willful misstatement by the applicant. So there is a immunity or say shelter given to the settlement person that the order will not be reopened on the whims of the officer. We have seen the forms list index. Form 1 is for the statutory order application. Form 1A is for the returns and as dues as per the audit. Further, we have seen the instruction. What are the instruction given by commissioner to the officer? And then we have seen the trade circular also, where in detail the example is given how to apply for the scheme, what are the calculations there need to be taken care of. So these were our discussion, brief discussion on the scheme. Now, after this discussion, we will go for the question and answer. So I am now going to the screen of the questions and answer. So there is a separate login where I am visible for the questions and answer. I hope you people are also eligible to see it. So what is the first question? The first question here, which has been asked to me, is in case of an individual who is registered with GST but has not registered herself with the profession tax for the last 5 years, how can she apply under this scheme? Does she needs to register first and take profession tax number and then get the statutory order and then apply for the scheme, or she can directly apply for the scheme after profession tax registration is taken? Here the applicant is unregistered, so he can go and apply for the settlement. There is an option given for the unregistered person also for the settlement. In this case, profession tax is applicable post GST also and pre GST era also. So for the post GST, she can go for the settlement, and from the current month, that is the say Jan 2022 onwards, she will have to pay the profession tax regularly. So better you can take the number also and then go for scheme. But before taking number, you can also apply for it. There is no problem at all. Further, the next query. The next query is please guide us on the interest calculation in case of an undisputed tax. The interest needs to be calculated as per the VAT Act. It's an undisputed tax from the date of due to the date of payment. Say for the June 2022 तक का इंटरेस्ट निकालना पड़ेगा अनडिस्प्यूटेड टैक्स के ऊपर. जो भी अपना टैक्स रेट था वैट का अगर है तो 18% rate was there, so that needs to be calculated. The trade circular is also there, which we discussed. The example of interest calculation is also given. You can refer that. Then the next query is leviable order yet not passed by MVAT will qualify. The order needs to be passed before 30th of September 22. So this is very important that the orders are not yet received. So please get your order before 30th September 22 and you can go for the settlement scheme. Now next, whether return has to be filed. before 31st of March 22 return filed, they are eligible for the settlement. After 1st April 22, return cannot be filed, and if the returns are filed, they will not be eligible for the settlement. So the outstanding dues as per returns which are filed before 31st of March 22 only are eligible. Then, sir, we have submitted form 1 for settlement of order for 1617 regarding C form. Now we had also applied for CIT appeal for 1718 regarding trans 1 credit transfer in GST after paying part payment, which was later allowed by CIT appeals. Now can Assistant Commissioner, instead of refunding us part payment which was paid while filing appeal of 1718 against due already pending for 1617 and considered only balance outstanding for the settlement or entire dues of 1617 is eligible for settlement, and the refund of part payment is separately available. The querist here has mixed the two enactments. इन्होंने जीएसटी के अंदर अपील फाइल की है ट्रांस 1 की for the year 1718. So that is a separate enactment. For 1617, it's regarding C form, that is the CST. So both are different. You cannot mix them. Whatever part payment is made while filing the CST, that only can be adjusted. The part payment which is made in GST era cannot be adjusted because the point is here is of trans 1, which is a different one. So this cannot happen. The settlement for the all dues of 1617 will be applicable. The part payment made in GST appeal cannot be adjusted against 1617. Then next, whether any assessment order between 1st April 22 to 30th of September 22 having demand also covered in above scheme? Yes, it is covered. The next query, if appeal is filed, whether the same is directly taken as a disputed tax or there is a criteria for the same. If appeal is filed, then it is a disputed tax. So the criteria is that you have filed appeal. So you have already made a dispute and gone into litigation. So it's a disputed tax. If in a settlement scheme of 2019, interest and penalty were paid, then this paid interest and penalty will be adjusted against tax or interest or penalty only. The question is pertaining to 2019 settlement. We are today discussing of settlement scheme 2022. So whatever payment is made in 2019, it will be adjusted according to the criteria of that scheme against the interest or penalty as the case may be. The second, now the 14th query is there. Is this return of benefit available for profession tax as well? So if the below 10,000, it should be as per statutory order. If you have received any statutory order, I think it is not received. So if the statutory order is not there, then even if it's below 10,000 rupees, like in the case of the querist profession tax, that needs to be paid in. Further, next query, if the CST order received for rupees 5,000 for late filing of returns, Whether it is deemed to be waiver, yes, it is deemed to be waiver because order is received. So order is very important. पहले ऐसा था कि हम ऑफिसर्स को बोलते थे क्यों साहब ऑर्डर निकाल रहे हैं, छोड़ दीजिए. अब आप सोचोगे कि कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है ऑर्डर. अब आप बोलोगे ऑफिसर को कि साहब ऑर्डर बना, फटाफट बनाइए, मुझे सेटलमेंट के लिए जाना है. Then comes in next query. Arrears of 10 lakhs for each statutory order or limit is for all orders collectively. It is each statutory order. 10 lakhs is for each. What if interest and penalty is not quantified in the assessment order? So not quantified, no issues. Still you can go for the settlement. Go for the amount which is mentioned in the order itself. Then do we have to pay the amount first and then upload the amnesty return? Yes, we have to pay by challan first and then simultaneously we can go for the application for settlement. Next query is, sir, demand due to non-submission of statutory forms and order not challenged in appeal. Then will be considered as a disputed or undisputed? The demand is there. So if the demand is there, it means it's a disputed. So you can put it into disputed because you have an order. It's a differential tax payment because the forms are not received. So you can always go for the settlement. Next query. If June 2017 MVAT return filed with refund of rupees 4 lakhs and we have also not filed tranche 1 and also not filed 501, how to claim refund? It's a case of, it's a different question. You can go for the refund, refer the Vichare judgment. Vichare industry judgment is there. You can go for the refund as per the return also. Next, for providing that particular tax is disputed tax, do we have to file appeal first and then go for scheme, or simple declaration in form as a disputed tax will be accepted? If the amount is as per the statutory order, it is not accepted in the return, it is not recommended in the 704, and if the amount is as per the statutory order, then it is a disputed tax. You can go for the settlement being a disputed tax as per the statutory order. Next, sir, 80/20 is applicable only if statutory order is issued. If I have return dues which are less than 10 lakhs but no statutory order, then in such case 20% cannot be option, the option cannot be applied because it is not as per the statutory order. So if the return dues are below 10 lakhs, then we have to go by the table for the disputed 50%, undisputed 100%, interest 15%, penalty 5%. Next query. The limit of 10 lakhs is applicable per financial year. Yes, it is per financial year per order, statutory order. Further, no statutory order pass, will 80/20 scheme applicable? It will not be applicable. If the demand order is of 20 lakhs for 16-17 and having 50,000 demand order for 17-18, can I take benefit of 80%? For the 50,000, yes. For 20 lakhs of 16-17, you cannot. For 17-18, it's a 50,000. You can take the benefit of 20% for that financial year. I have a statutory order. Next query. I have a statutory order of 1 crore. This is inclusive of disputed interest penalty. Sir, in case I can go for 20% lump sum. You cannot go for lump sum because it's about 10 lakh rupees. So we have to go for the table as per the table. Next query. The 10 lakhs limits includes only undisputed tax interest penalty. It includes all as per the statutory order. It will be aggregate total of that statutory order. Then next query. In case of a partial withdrawal of appeal under previous amnesty, do we need to withdraw the balance appeal and take fresh assessment order? Also, can we withdraw appeal online? Yes, you can do it. Next query. As per the appellate order dated 25th May 22 for the financial year 10-11, amount payable toward interest is 2,50,000 only. Whether we can go for one-time settlement and pay 50% of interest, yes, you can go. No problem at all. Next, challan amount paid from the payment gateway given by the portal. However, after payment, challan is not reflected and could not be downloaded. Payment is already debited in the bank. The paid challan downloaded from bank is showing transaction details. However, 20 digits CIN is not reflected. Transaction number, date, all messages of successful payment are there. However, the application is not validated because of 20 digit CIN number is not mentioned. What to do? What is the remedy? In this case, immediately go and contact Rajendra Adsul sir, who is a joint commissioner sitting in Mazgaon, or you can directly write down to the commissioner Rajendra Mittal ji, and they will resolve this query, because this is a technical issue which needs to be taken care of by the department. Next query. Is it possible to go for lump sum under CGST and regular option under the VAT for the same financial year? The statutory order for CST is different. The statutory order for MVAT is different. You can go for it per statutory order wise. Can we get this PPT? Yes, you will get. Next. After completion settlement procedure and paying requisite amount, can same case can be taken up for departmental audit and raise any demand? No. Once the settlement procedure is completed, no further demand can be raised, except it is revoked by CAG order or by any fraud or willful misstatement. The commissioner can reopen. The next query. Appeal is filed in December 21. If we get appeal hearing done by 15 September 22, you can do it. Get the order before 30th of September and then go for settlement. Do it before 30th September. Is form 2 needs to be filed online? Yes, all the forms are online. We have to file online. Next. If the assessment order is passed with demand, tax and interest, yes, you can go for that settlement as per the order. Then next query. Payment is allowed of mode, or it's an online payment. Yes, it's an online payment. Lump sum 20% you can go, or you can pay interest 15, penalty 5% as per the option which you avail. Then next query. What about if tax, interest and penalty liability is below 10 lakhs in case of return dues? You cannot go for 20%. ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. रिटर्न्स के हिसाब से आप 20% वाले स्कीम में नहीं जा सकते. Another query. Rupees 10 lakhs limit, 80% waiver is for all years or it's a per year? It's a per year per order. Please note, it's a per statutory order. Any chance of 30th September extended? I cannot say. And the commissioner had said that it will not be extended. If the dealer, next query, if the dealer has a 3 statutory orders for 3 financial year and each order is below 10 lakhs, he can go for the 20% scheme for each statutory order. No problem. Then trade circular PDF is not available. It will be available through email. They will send you. ICI will send you. Next query. If a person has not paid any propation tax, can he pay for the earlier under this scheme? Yes. Rectification, next query. The rectification order is passed. That is also a statutory order. You can go for it. Next query. Sir, appeal is pending for submitting C form. So it will be taken as a disputed. Yes, you can go for it. Next, appeal is pending before the appellate authority. Bank account is attached after the order passed by assessing officer. And the amount deducted from the bank. Question, can we go for settlement? For the balance amount, can we get refund? You cannot get refund. Whatever balance amount is there, only that will be eligible for the settlement. If your dues are completely attached and taken from the bank, then there may not be any outstanding dues. No need to go for settlement. But after the amount which has been taken from the attached bank account, if there is a balance amount payable, you can go for the settlement for that balance amount. You will not be eligible for refund. Next query. At the time of filing appeal, we have paid 100% tax demand in advance. Now we are going under amnesty scheme. However, we are following doubts. For example, total tax is 100, interest 50, penalty 10. We have paid 100 in advance. So what will be the value of eligibility under the scheme? Basic tax, there is no liability because tax is already paid. It will be adjusted. It will be nil. Then for interest and penalty, you can go. The tax which is paid in advance and it's 100% paid. So there is no dues. So no settlement applicable on that. Only on the dues of penalty and interest, you can go for settlement. Next query. The client received assessment order of 1718 for difference between VAT input as per return and as per database of VAT authority along with interest and penalty. Can we go for settlement scheme? Yes, you can go for settlement scheme up to July 17 dues. Next query. Is PTEC 12,500 per year for proprietor covered under waiver? You will have to pay it because it is not as per statutory order and it will be the dues which are payable. You will have to pay P-tax. Interest and penalty waiver and late fees waiver will be there in such cases. Then next, whether we can apply for settlement of tax applicable to our client post 1st April 2018. who have not taken PTEC or PTRC. It is applicable for the dues up to 31st of March 22. In case of profession tax, you will have to go for the settlement of the interest and the penalty and late fees, but you will have to pay the tax in full. You can go for settlement. Next query: if 2-year amount is greater than 10 lakhs, but the individually less than 5 lakhs, if it is as per statutory order, you can go for 20% scheme. Then many queries are there. 101 queries are there. So it will be take lot of time. I will take up some few important queries. Here, the next query is that if the appeal is filed and the liability is reduced now, can the same be taken for settlement? If the liability is reduced as per the order, you can go for settlement. Taxpayer has erroneously filed VAT return by short declaring sales. Now the sales correctly shown by filing revised return. Is he eligible for scheme? No. For the tax, it's undisputed tax, he will have to, but for the interest, yes, he can go. For penalty, he can go. It's a dues which are accepted in the return. It will be undisputed dues. 100% tax need to be paid. Next query is, while filing appeal, filing fees be adjusted for total liability or liability as per settlement percentage. Filing fees is not adjustable. It's a normal amount. The pre-deposits which you file at the time of appeal, they will get adjusted, and the net liability will be eligible for the settlement. It will not go. The pre-deposit amount paid in appeal will not be part of this amount which needs to be paid in the settlement order. It will be after adjustment of that. ये query अपन ने cover की है. Then next query: if the rectification order is passed after 1st April 22 and the liability arising in the same is below 10,000, whether the same will be dropped? Yes, it will be dropped. If the assessment order for CST has been adjusted in refund of VAT, an order of nil amount is given, then whether when we can go for settlement of CST demand as the order is nil. If the order is nil, but it's a refund of VAT, so you can always go for the settlement because the VAT refund is wrongly adjusted. You can challenge that. If you have an order that you have challenged this, then you can go for it, because that order is not a correct order. They have adjusted your VAT refund and you don't have any dues. You have disputed the dues under CST, please check whether the demand in CST was correct, because the demand needs to be adjusted. And in case of a VAT refund, you should have applied for the VAT 501 case. But here, very important is that if you are not challenged that, then it will not be eligible for the scheme. Please check whether you have filed the appeal, because as per the statutory order, the demand is nil. When the demand is nil, then the amount of settlement will not come up. If you are challenged it, then it can be. Next, if the interest and penalty amount were made previously, then the calculation of waiver of 20 to 20, then it will be deducted from tax or interest. It will be deducted first from the tax and then from the interest. Next query: is application to be made where areas are below 10,000. No need to make the application. Then further query, how to adjust the appeal tax disputed in the new amnesty. The demand for tax is of 64,000 interest and penalty each. The calculation as per form A, when 20% is applied only is received effectively. We are not able to understand this query of Rishabh Bora. We will have to guide him separately. You can call and we can see, because how to adjust the appeal tax deposited in new app. If the amount is deposited in appeal, it cannot be part of the settlement. You will have to first adjust again the tax, then again the interest, and then penalty, and the net balance will be eligible for 20%. The next query is, if the order is silent about disputed or undisputed tax, then which amount to be considered? The amount as per the order need to be considered. There will be two orders for VAT and CST, then they are the different statutory orders. You can go for the appeal. Next, if a rectification for assessment order is filed, then how to move forward with settlement? Get the rectification order immediately and go for settlement. In case of a dealer, he is having dues pending of 1617 as per returns. If it's as per returns, then undisputed amount 100%, and for the balance you can go for the settlement. If the audit report is not filed for 1617, 1718, but the penalty for the same is already paid under amnesty of 19, MVAT and CST order is already passed, shall we require to file audit report now? No, not required. To whom we have to address the application? You can address in the form it is given, it is to the commissioner. We have paid 10% as a part payment of appeal now. The question is whether the amount is adjusted against the interest or 20%. It will not be adjusted against 20% or interest. It will be adjusted against your dues. Your dues will be reduced by 10%, which is a part payment in appeal. ये क्वेश्चन बार बार आ रहा है, which we have already answered, कि जो भी पैसा पहले भरा हुआ है ये तुम्हारे ड्यूज में से पहले कम होगा. जो बैलेंस ड्यूज है फिर उसके ऊपर वेवर अमाउंट कैलकुलेट होगी, और फिर वो जो वेवर अमाउंट है वो अपने को पे करनी है. Then next query is, companies having PT dues for more than 10 years. As per PT Act, payment for 4 years is sufficient compliance. What is the benefit of getting covered under amnesty? You can get the benefit of interest and penalty under amnesty. Next query is, demand due to non-submission of C form will be classified as a disputed or undisputed. It will be disputed as per the statutory order. Next query, if I have shown my VAT dues in my return but not paid, and I have received an order demanding me to pay the dues, so it will be disputed or undisputed. If it is collected and it is there in the return, then it is undisputed, and the same order has come up for you, so it's undisputed because you have collected. But please check, you can go for the interest and penalty for the scheme. I have VAT returns late fees 500. How to apply? No need. If 10,000 below late fees is there, then no need to apply for the scheme. It will be written off. The next query is, client received assessment order. Total queries are 106 and we are on 86. Okay, I will try to finish it. I have shown my VAT dues in return. ये query हो गया है. Can we withdraw appeal to the extent of C form for the receivable and not receivable and go for amnesty scheme with the amount of C form not receivable and file amnesty? You can withdraw the appeal and you can go for the amnesty. But if you have received the forms, you will have to settle that into appeal only. So get your appeal order done in such case. That will be beneficial. If you have filed appeal against C form which are received and some are not received, get the final order of the appeal as early as possible and then go for the settlement for the balance. Return is not filed, but the base judgment order is done in Form 303. Whether we are eligible for amnesty? Yes, you are eligible for amnesty. If the amount include both disputed and undisputed, then can we go for lump sum 20% for the total amount including undisputed tax? If it is as per the statutory order, you can go. Very important is the statutory order. Then next, one case is pending in tribunal. First appeal has given certain relief and for the balance, we are in tribunal. As are we required to opt for amnesty for the original statutory order or we have to go for amnesty as per the first appellate order? First appellate order के हिसाब से जाना पड़ेगा. Latest statutory order which is in appeal that you have to take care of. Order was issued in February 22 for J1, J2 mismatch of 17 lakhs. Letter will applied for rectification and submitted few later. Rectification order issued in April 22, resulting into 4 lakhs demand. Can we go for settlement? Yes, you can go for settlement of 20%. You need to pay challan first. Then next query. We have a demand due of 1617 in the statutory order of 58 lakhs, tax 26, interest 28. We have paid 40 lakhs after assessment. Now 18 lakhs is due. So as per the adjustment, 40 lakhs will be settled for with tax amount of rupees 29 and then after interest. So we have to pay 18% into 15%. It is correct. Yes, you have to pay 2,78,000. Correct. 70. The PTR next query is PTRC number is taken, but returns are not filed. Can we apply under the scheme? Yes. Rectification order is below 10 lakhs. It's covered under full waiver. Next, if bank account is attached for the whole amount, it is debited, but DD not deposited by the department, then we can go for the scheme and ask officer to discard the DD. Just go and contact your officer and do the needful. The DD is not deposited, then it is an issue. Why he has attached the bank account? It is a very typical issue. Legal issues are there. Please be careful. J1, J2 mismatch notice is issued. Can we go for the scheme? Yes, you can go. It is a disputed. Demand raised for non-production of CPOM. It is a disputed amount. Next query. Our one register has not filed nil return for last 2 years. Can we apply for penalty waiver? No order. You can apply for the late fees waiver. Nil returns are there. Next query. Whether we can pay lump sum 20% tax in installment. No, you cannot pay 20% tax in installment. You have to pay lump sum amount at the time of the application itself. So before filing application, you have to pay all the amount. Next, if rectify order passed after 1st April and the amount is below 10,000, it will be dropped. Yes, it will be dropped. How do we apply for withdrawal of appeal? It's a normal form which needs to be filled in. You can type your own letter that I want to withdraw the appeal and you can go for the withdrawal of appeal. Then the next query, if the assessee has gone for appeal and deposited tax, now order has come, but assessee tax is small amount and deposit amount is higher. What should be the best strategy? You will have to go by that. You cannot go in the settlement because amount deposited is high. Get the refund as per the appeal order. Can we withdraw rectification application and apply for amnesty? Yes, you can do it. Whether order passed under CST due to pending of C form, it is a disputed tax. You can go for a settlement. Client has filed the return, but in the return they are not declared taxable. Can we pay for the same which we have shown as an exempt, and for some years it has been nil? Can we take that too? Yes, you can take it and go for the settlement scheme. Next query, if the order of acceptance of application under scheme is not passed, what is the remedy? Go and contact to the jurisdictional commissioner or write down to the CST commissioner. It will be passed within 3 months from the date of application after September. तो नवंबर, अक्टूबर, नवंबर, दिसंबर के पहले आपको फाइनल ऑर्डर आ जाना चाहिए. The order passed in 2016. Now the officer has issued form 318 by increasing the interest and issued a new order. What to do? You can go for settlement. What if the dealer has not filed a return, declare the turnover? Whether he get the benefit of interest and late fees? Yes, he will get the benefit under the scheme. Then next query. For less than 10,000 demand order, do we need to file any form? No need to file any form. There is an error in getting the template downloaded. It's a technical issue. You can write down to the commissioner. Then order is passed on 3rd June 2022. Can we go for amnesty? Yes. C form submitted was a duplicate copy. Department rejected. Then can we go for the appeal, or can we get the C form original? You cannot get the C form original, but the duplicate is itself. You can go for appeal. It's not a matter of settlement. Ex parte order is disputed dues. Ex parte order is disputed dues. Now all the queries are finished. Yes, tell me. Yeah, now the queries are over. So our session is finished. So if there are no queries, we can now end the session. Over to you, Smita ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful session. And I'm sure all the 1300 plus participants which we had today, they would have found this session immensely,
How much participants?
1300 plus, sir.
1300 plus?
Yes, yes. So I'm sure they would have been, found this session very useful and informative. They would have benefited from your expert knowledge, and you had taken efforts to answer more than 100 queries. That also is I would say, a great feat. So thank you, sir. Thank you for all your time. And thank you, participants, for being here and attending our webinar. So with this, I close the session, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks to all. Thanks to Smita ma'am. Thank you, Impreet. Thanks to Parth and all participants.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.